Hello and welcome. I just want to first start out with I hope everyone is doing well, staying healthy, not going too crazy inside, but I want to welcome you to distance learning and kind of try and answer as many questions as possible that you guys might have going on right now. I know I'm not going to get them all answered, so if you have any questions, please feel free to Schoology message me or email me. But here is what we kind of have in mind between the PreCalc 2 teachers and I of what distance learning will look like for PreCalc 2. Okay, so one question you guys might have is you all know that I am going to be having a baby here shortly. And so who is the long-term sub going to be? To make things probably the best for all of you is Mr. Johnson and Ms. Weiss. They teach PreCalc 2 and they already know how we're going to do distance learning. So they are going to go ahead and be the long-term subs. So if you are in a first hour class, or sorry, not a first hour, if you're in my first hour class, Mr. Johnson will be your long-term sub. Okay. Second hour will also be Mr. Johnson. And then my fourth and fifth hours will be with Ms. Weiss. There is one thing, if you are a first hour person, okay, we are going to, while we're doing distance learning, convert to a 0-hour class. Okay. And I don't want you to stress if you have a 0 hour. I plan on reaching out to you if I haven't already. But he will connect with you if you have a 0 hour. I think there's a lot of you in jazz band right now. So if you have a 0 hour, he will connect with you during the first hour time. And this is just more of a time slot. But there's only I think 6 of you. You have 0 hour jazz band. And so Mr. Johnson will have more time if you use the 0 hour class time, if you're in my first hour. Okay, so we're going to start out doing that right away. I am due April 9th, and so I'm hoping to be with you guys for 2 more weeks, maybe longer, maybe less. We'll just have to wait and see. But you're going to use the 0 hour class time. So where is that? That is on this schedule. Okay, so this is kind of the schedules that Mr. Pickens has kind of allotted. Okay, so we're going to do distance learning. So it'll be hours 1, 3, 5 on one day. Then the next day will be hours 0, 2, and 4. And then the third day will be a check-in day. Okay, so it'll go, one day is 1, 3, 5. Then you'll have 0. The next day will be hours 0, 2, 4. And then we'll have a check-in day. So my first hour students, you are going to be using this time frame. Okay, just because then it provides Mr. Johnson time, because he doesn't have a 0 hour, to connect with you during that time. So this is for my first hour people. Okay, and then so it's kind of how the daily schedule will be. And then each day for class, if you want to know what's going to be expected, there is a pacing calendar on Schoology. Okay, so if you go onto Schoology right now, you will see that there is a distance learning resources, and in there, you should only see one of these calendars. Okay. If you click and open the calendar, if you're in a 1, 3, or 5 class, okay, the first day, which is today, Monday, March 30th, it's just welcome to distance learning. So all I'm asking you guys watch this video, and then, if you have questions, reach out to me, so we can kind of get those cleared up. Then tomorrow, my hours 1, 3, or 5, what we will be doing is we will meet as a group on Google Meets, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more. And I will go over any homework questions you guys have on lessons 5, 4, and 5. Okay. And then we'll talk about what your plan is for today. So your goal will be to watch the 5.6 notes video, and then your homework is the lesson 5.6 worksheet. Okay. You also have the 5.7. So basically every day you have class, you will be assigned 2 things. Then you have until the following time that we meet to get that completed and turned in. Okay, so you have 1, 3, 5. The next time we meet, we will go over homework questions, check in. I'll go over any questions you guys have in the notes. And then that assignment will be due at midnight on that day. Okay, so it's kind of like you get to work on it until our next class period. Okay. If you're a 0, 2, or 4 hour, or if you're my first hour, technically, this is a schedule you'll be operating on. And I do see I have a little bit of a mistake because the next time we technically meet will be the 6th. So this should say 4, 6. So I'll have to go through and change that. Sorry. There we go. So I'll change that. So I'll be due 4, 6. So you guys will have those 2 assignments, and then you have to the next time that we meet to get that done. Okay. So there is that. So I will go through and double check. Hopefully I didn't miss any others. But if I did, it should be due the next time we meet. Yeah, it looks like I forgot to switch that on here because it should be due on the 16th. Okay, so that's how and when your assignments will be due. Let's get back to my little slides here. So this is the calendar time. So first hour, it starts technically tomorrow, which is Tuesday. We are going to move and use the 0 hour time unless if you're already in a 0 hour class, we'll talk via Schoology. But if you're in my 3rd hour or 5th hour, we'll meet at 2 o'clock. So what does it look like when we have class? Okay. When we have class, we are going to go ahead and meet on Google Meets. So we'll meet on Google Meets and we'll check in together. I'll take homework questions, take any questions you guys have on notes, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay. So there's our tentative little schedule. I'm going to talk a little bit more detail in the upcoming slides. To accommodate all this, we are changing the grading policy. Okay. Before homework was like 15%, and now homework is worth 50%. Notice it is still based on completion. Okay, but if I only see final answers written down when I check over your work, I'm going to ask you to redo it. You got to show all your work, okay, because I'm going to still be providing you guys with the back of the book solutions. Okay, and then your assessment, which will be given on Schoology, will be worth 50% of your grade. So tentatively, here are the assessments that we are covering. Okay. We're going to have, you guys already did this. If you did not take this quiz, please reach out to me. Or I'll try and reach out to you here shortly. And so we can get that quiz taken. But then you're going to have a Unit 5 test at the end of this week. Unit 6, notice we are going to skip Unit 7. Unit 8, Unit 9, and then Unit 10 we're also going to skip, and then there'll be a final exam. This could definitely change. This is kind of tentatively what we have based on our current situation. Okay, so just so you know, assessments will be worth 50%. They'll be done on Schoology. I have had some people worry about the material that we're not covering. So if you're worried about that, you do not need to. I have put them in the folder at the very bottom. Okay, it says Unit 7 and 10 tentatively will not be covered this school year. That could change if we get back to school and we have time. We will cover Unit 7 and Units 10. But if you wanted to on your own time work through it, you're more than welcome to. You do not need to. Here are the ideas covered in Unit 7. So evaluating functions, stuff you guys covered in PreCalc 1, it's just re-hitting on that. Transformations of functions, moving them up, down, left, right, you do that in Trig and PreCalc 1. Even in odd functions is something that's a bit new. You covered a little bit in Algebra 2, but if you're going into calculus, we will talk about it. We'll make sure that we feel you guys are confident with even in odd functions prior to really diving into the calculus curriculum next year. Mr. Johnson and I have already talked about that. Same thing with average rate of change. That is slope. You guys have done a ton with slope, and if you do decide to take calculus, we will cover average rate of change thoroughly, and you'll be covered there. The idea of limits. Okay, once again, it's another shorter unit. It is like a very big idea that we cover for quite some time in calculus. So we are not going to most likely get to it this year. We might get to it depending on when we come back. But we will make sure, Mr. Johnson and I have already talked this over, that when you get to calculus, that's when you would need limits for, we will thoroughly review it. This is just supposed to be a nice little like easing you into limits. And when you get to calculus, it's really a big topic covered there. So we will make sure you're okay. Okay. But if you want, that information is there for you. Then assessments, what do they look like? They will be available on Schoology. They will be open book or open notes. Okay, one thing is, since it's going to be open book, open notes, there is no retakes. Okay, so I need you to make sure you understand there's no retakes. You get one try and that is it. And then you will need to complete it within the time frame on the calendar. So if you go to our calendar, both classes have the same time frame for tests, but this one will be available April 3rd, okay, so it's Friday, until April 7th. Okay, so you'd have the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th to get it done. And all of them should have, if you go to a test, how long they are available for, okay? So you just need to make sure you complete it within that time. The biggest thing, you guys, with assessments is that we need academic honesty. I want academic integrity and honesty. Here are the things you are allowed to use: your notes, your graphing calculator, your worksheets, and your brain. Okay? The things you are not allowed to use. I want to assess what you know. Okay? So please do not use the internet or get help from others, including adults or peers or your parents. I really want to know what you know, and you can use those other resources that you have done. However, please, please, please do not Google things on the internet. Do not get help from others, including adults or your fellow peers. Okay? Homework. You got the message from Ms. Pierce last week that you can go ahead and pick up packets. Due to the shelter in place, I don't think you can pick up paper copies anymore. If you are really worried about that, maybe there's something, I'm not sure if there's something I can do at that point. I would assume due to the governor's suggestions, we won't be able to do that. But if you did pick up paper copies, please just take a picture when your work is done and upload it to Schoology. And then I will be going in there and marking off your completed homework. Okay. If you have questions about homework, once again, feel free to message me. All right. Office hours and how class is going to be run. It is going to be this should say Google Meets. Google Meets, Google Hangouts, Google Meets. So what I need you to do is log in to self-service and make sure you have this app downloaded. Okay. Also, you're going to be using your ISD 192 email in order for me to communicate with you. Okay. So at the beginning of class, what will happen is I will go in and create a meet, and then in the Schoology updates, I will post our link, and then you guys can click on it, and then we can all kind of meet together. Okay. I would ask that you turn off your volume, because if we have 30 kids and you guys all have your volume on, it might get really loud and hard for people to hear. So please make sure you turn off or like mute your screen. That would be great. I think, and this is just going to be a learning curve for all of us, I think what will be best is if you have a question, maybe just post it in the chat off to the side, and then we can go from there. And then check-in days. Okay, it's like we have class, then we have a day, it's your other classes, then you guys have check-in days. Those are your office hours. Okay, those are times for you guys to like sign up and meet one-on-one with me. We can discuss homework that you're having a hard time with. We can talk about the notes. Just like a one-on-one, like when you came up to my desk or I would come to your desk and you had a question, I could answer those things for you. Okay, but we're going to do that through Google Meets. And I'll get to this office hours link here in a minute. Okay. Maybe I'll do it now. Okay, so if we go into Schoology, same thing, distance learning resources. I will post this video under the distance learning resources, but at the top, we got our calendar for whichever class or hour you're in, and then office hours sign up. Okay, if you go on here, if you want to meet with me today, if you have a question on, I need to see some of your 5.4 homework and 5.5 homework from some of you. So if you have a question, feel free to sign up for a time today and we can have a Google Meet. Once again, just make sure that you are signed in using your ISD 192 email. Okay. Then our next check-in day will be on Thursday. So say you start working on the 5, 6, 5, 7, 5 homework and you're having a hard time. Pick a time and then I will create a Google Meet with you and we can meet and have a one-on-one basically like tutoring session if necessary. Okay, and we can go from there. So this is for the first week, and then here's for the next week. And we'll have school on the April 10th, so there's that. Okay, so and I'll add more tabs as we go along, but that's where you can sign up for one-on-one help. Communication, you guys, it's really going to be important that we communicate with each other. If you need help, please, please, please reach out to me on Schoology at any time. Okay, I might not be able to get to you right away if it's in the evening, but message me on Schoology and then we can go from there. And then on check-in days, if you need help, sign up for a one-on-one help using the Google Sheet. I have done a lot of tutoring, and when it's snowy and like bad weather days, I have met with people using, what do we use? We use FaceTime. But I think the Google Meets will work a little bit better because I can put my slides up here and I can walk through problems with you and you can ask me questions. So it might be different, but it's going to be okay. And that's what I need you to understand. So we'll be able to get through it together. So if you need help, please reach out. Okay. So what does class look like? The night before we have class, I will try and post, I will post an update the night before class. And what I'll ask for is, do you have questions on specific homework problems? Or is there something about the notes that you want me to go over? Okay, then we'll meet in the Google Meets time, and I'll check in, see how things are going, and I'll go over the questions that you posted for me. Okay, but once again, communication is key. I won't be able to see you in person, so if I can't, I need to know that you need help. And if you need help, I just need you to reach out. Okay, so message me on Schoology, and we can go from there. Okay. I know some of you might not have a graphing calculator at home. And for the rest of Chapter 5, you're really going to need one. So there's this free graphing calculator app. It works with Apple products. It's called Calculator X, and you can put it on your iPad. So if you don't have it, please download it before you guys dive into 5-7 lesson, okay, because you'll need it. But this is a good app. Looks very, very similar to the actual graphing calculator. Okay. Then finally, I have went in and put whose 5-4 worksheet and 5-5 worksheets I've already seen. Some of you guys I haven't gotten that from. As soon as you can, it's due Thursday, April 2nd. Dropbox it for me, and I will go on there and I'll look it over and put in your score. Before you do your 5-4 lesson, if you think that you showed it to me already, please just go on to Infinite Campus and check. Okay, and then if it's there, that you already earned your points, no need to Dropbox it. Okay. Otherwise, I think that is it. I know there's a lot of information coming at you from a lot of different teachers. So if you have questions, like I said, communication is key, you guys. Just reach out. Otherwise, I look forward to our first Google Meet session. I will post that before class. It'll be a little link on Schoology, okay, and the updates. So be sure to look there. One last thing, I guess. Just a reminder, we're going to be still going through Unit 5 matrices. If you want to check your answers, they are listed on here. Okay, it's the back of the book solution. So there's no work, but it's what your final answer should look like. And that's kind of loading here. But once you get done, check your answers. Make sure you got the correct answer. Okay. Same thing, those should be there for the rest of our units as we go through the rest. We got Unit 6. Yep, the solutions are there. They all should be good. So if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great day, and I'll see you later.